Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a refresher on watching your own replays. That's right. I believe I uploaded one. Must have been a while now, actually, because I can't even remember, truthfully. But I decided from the idea of somebody else who asked me, Migs, how do I actually watch your own replays? And I was like, oh, I guess I haven't done a video like that in a while. So I'm doing a new refresh up video today with obviously a loss that I experienced. This was actually from yesterday. I played this TVT where I got kind of pooped on for the most part. I was extremely behind from the early game, but it's like one of those things where it's like, you know that you're behind, but you can't really tell why. Like in the game, I was like, okay, I'm definitely behind, but like, why exactly am I so behind? So I want to touch upon that today. So without further ado, let's get started because I'm already behind with my gas timing. So my first gas here is actually quite a bit late. So let's actually rewind that first. So the first thing that I always do is I look at build order. Fairly obvious, right? Look at build order and production. So if I can't even get the build order down correctly, I'm naturally going to be behind right now. That's not necessarily as impactful, right? As it might seem, kind of depending on how bad it is / what it is. So for example, maybe I missed 2 SCVs. But realistically, Masters, Diamond, that's not going to matter too much. Even in GM, sometimes that won't matter too much. You can still win the game through other means, okay? Obviously, it's still nice to know that you made that mistake so you can avoid and prevent it from happening in the future. But things like that may not necessarily lose you the game directly. Now, if it's like every 3 minutes, I'm not building 2 or 3 SCVs, then obviously that's going to start stockpiling, and then that is going to be an issue, right? And then that's when you can be like, okay, I have a problem where I'm not consistent in my worker production, and that could lose me the game. Okay, it's always going to be very hard to pinpoint an exact reason why you lost the game, because most of these games, even at my level, because I'm not playing at the highest level, right? Even at my level, it's very hard to pinpoint exactly where you lost the game, but it can be easy to sort of accumulate all the little things that add up, right? So you can avoid those. So the first thing, like I said earlier, is my barracks and gas time. So this person has their barracks already 4 seconds in. My depot just finished. I'm floating 200 minerals. My barracks is now 6 seconds behind theirs, like 5.5 seconds. And my gas is 5 seconds delayed too. And that's a pretty big deal, right? 5 seconds on both these things already off the bat. 5 seconds on my barracks, 5 seconds on my gas. That hurts. Now, obviously, let's say, for example, actually, no, let me rephrase this. Being behind this early in a game is most impactful in the early game, right? As the game goes late and later on, I was going to say later on, I said lady. As the game goes late, whatever happened in the early game sort of it sort of gets erased, right? Because the game's been going on for so long. There's like other things that have happened now that are, deciding whether or not you're ahead or behind. But in the early game specifically, if you mess up your build order, it is most impactful if somebody's playing aggressive. Okay, so if somebody is playing aggressive builder against you and you're behind already in your early game opener, that hurts. And that's actually exactly what happened to me in this game. This guy goes for a cyclone drop, marine cyclone drop, and obviously it's going to come quick, right? He did the timing correctly. His builder is beautifully executed so far, and mine is not. So naturally, I am going to get kind of cooked here, and I'm not going to have enough units. Okay. I'm going to be maybe missing 2 Reapers that I should have had or something like this. And you can see his first Reaper is 6 seconds ahead of mine. That's pretty crazy, okay? And on top of that, now I'm SCV scouting off double gas. So I'm delaying things even more. Factory is not as behind. It's like 4 seconds or so. But I even have less minerals than my opponent. My mule is later, right? So you can see how that is adding up. Okay, now again, this game goes for 20 minutes. So clearly, well, I was kind of coping at the end. So that's like 18 minutes. So clearly, there's other factors at play. Here comes my Hellion. All right, Hellion's behind theirs. So, yeah. So, not to beat. We're on a dead bush here, but pretty much here, I'm behind. Right, I'm already behind the early game. He's playing an aggressive opener, and he has a starport before me. Look how far behind my starport is. I mean, Jesus. And this is also a part of my opener because I played a Reaper Reactor, so I'm gonna have an abundance of units. Now, sometimes there's scenarios where you get a little bit unlucky. And so what do I mean by that? Well, for example, I decided to play for Reaper Reactor. And this is an aggressive build myself. So I want to be going across the map to try to do some damage. Problem is, I leave my base, and he's coming in my base with the medevac. Okay? So moments like moments like this, it's very hard to prevent entirely. Okay? There are things that could make the scenario better. Say, for example, if I would have built these, if I would have done my build correctly, maybe I'd be here on the map instead of back here. And that could help me, maybe get some more damage done or something like that. Or maybe my Cyclone's going to be a little bit faster, or I might have 2 more Marines than I normally would. But as you can see, that kind of sucks, right? And so now what happens is I'm already kind of behind, and now I'm going to be a bit more behind because I'm losing on these SCVs. I'm losing SCVs, I'm losing mining time. I lost 3 workers. I do get the Cyclone. That's great. But if we look at the SCV count here, I'm down 4 workers, and my opponent's building a 3rd. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Now there I get some extra worker kills. That's great. He pops the 3rd already because he has the money, because he didn't need to pull off his mineral line. But I did, right? So that's why even though we have the same worker count, because I have to pull off the mineral lines, that's why his 3rd CC is faster. Okay, so you want to, when you're analyzing your replay, you want to basically be looking, take it slow, and just see. You have to really have a fine line between like being honest with yourself. Yeah, just being honest with yourself. Like, for sure that medevac, me playing aggressive opener followed by that medevac, I know deep down there was no reason for me to keep all my Reaper Hellions at home. Why would I build that many units and just sit at home, right? That doesn't make any sense. And realistically too, I'm not going to send 1 Reaper to go scout or something like that, because I also risk losing it. I mean, I could, maybe that does work, and that's where you want to think about. Maybe you try that out in a different scenario and see if that helps. Okay, so you want to be thinking about what little things you can change maybe to make the scenario slightly better for yourself. Or for example, here, I decided, okay, I'm going to send my Reapers across the map to try to get some damage done. But now that I'm looking at this replay, I see, oh, worker-wise, I'm not actually that far down. So maybe I could have used my Reapers to take map control instead. Right? Because that was my other option. Okay, let's see. Well, let's see how many workers I kill here, because maybe it was fine for me to do this. Well, I'm not targeting any workers. I killed 2 Reapers. Sure. Yeah, I didn't kill anything here. That obviously did nothing. So I probably was better off just keeping these in the middle of the map. And somebody who's smart and knows that I have Reapers left over, they would leave army here anyway to catch my Reapers. So that makes a lot of sense. So like here I would conclude, okay, I think it would have been better for me to keep my Reapers in the middle of the map. Now, does that decision win or lose me the game? Maybe not, right? Like maybe if I do that in the future, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm just going to win the game now because I made that decision instead. But like I said earlier, in the same way that you make decisions, or in the same way that little things that put you behind lose you the game, little things that put you ahead win you the game. Okay, so you wanted to be thinking about that. Now here, obviously, he's got production sooner than me. He's building Vikings. He has Stim on the way. I don't have either. They played 1 Raven. I played triple Raven. I think that was good for me, actually, so I'm happy I did that. And then here, it looks like they want to push. They were thinking about it anyway. Okay, now I have my barracks, my eBays. Yeah, so my builder is just behind. So if I'm looking at this, I know that the only way I can win is to basically play passive, play a good defensive game, and then if he tries to be aggressive and tries to break me, that's where being defensive can help me get a good trade. That's where I can maybe catch some medevacs or something like that. But yeah, looking at this, like, yeah, I'm fairly behind. My 1-1 is like 20 seconds behind. I'm down like 5-6 workers here. I'm supply blocked right now, so that doesn't help, because if I wasn't supply blocked, I actually might have been able to close this gap a little bit better. Yes, and so that's nothing to, okay, I just got supply blocked for like a minute, and I'm only behind like, what was it, 6 workers, 5 workers? So maybe it's possible that if I didn't get supply blocked, I could be back in the game. So maybe I need to tighten up a little bit better. Okay, he builds a 4. I think that's smart. He's not building SCVs right now. Second factory. I know the supply drop, not good. I should be muling right now. And I should be building an armory and taking these gases. Yeah. And I would have the money to do that if I didn't supply drop, because I would have another mule. playing very defensive. So yeah, so as you can see, you're just questioning yourself. Just question yourself. The obvious stuff is always going to be obvious. Yeah, I didn't build SUVs. Yeah, I didn't build Marines. Yeah, I had to call it down supply drop. Then that could have been a mill. That stuff is obvious. But question the decisions you make in the game. Question where you put your Vikings. Question, should my siege tank should have been here? Question, what if instead I build 2 medevacs right now? What could have happened for me? Right? Actually, that's a perfect example that I wasn't even thinking about. Look, he has 7 Vikings, I have 6 Vikings, right? If I sneak out 2 medevacs out of my starports right now, I load up my Marines, his base is not defended at all. I could actually just drop his main because he's being so aggressive with his army that outside my base, that there's nothing at home. And I've actually been in a scenario like that before where somebody was playing like this against me and I had 4 medevacs and I just darted them across the map and I base traded them and they lost. And the reason why that decision is possible in this scenario is because he only has 1 Raven and I have 3 Ravens. And actually the whole time I was playing this game, I didn't really think about that. I remember I didn't really think about seeing how many Ravens he had relative to me, because then I could stay here and if he tries to yeet me with his army, I have 3 Ravens worth of energy that I can just dump abilities, matrix, turrets, missile, all that stuff. And so I'm thinking, oh, okay, that could have been a choice that I could have made earlier. Because later on, I try to do Marine run-bys and stuff like that. It doesn't really work. So that makes a lot of sense. Here I've caught up on supply. Oh, and something else I just thought of too. Okay, I just built my 4th and 5th barracks. But maybe because I knew I was behind, I should have cut a corner and just have built a 4th to get a faster 4th. Since I'm turtling anyway, and I'm relying on my tanks and Vikings to defend this position, then I might as well have built a 4th, right? And done that instead. So that's what I mean. Like you're kind of question the choices that you make, and try to think about the overall picture. Okay. Obviously, it's easier for me because I shot my hydro. Obviously, it's easier for me because I played scenarios like these so many times that I could tell you that I kind of know already what other choices I could have made. So, but that's why watching Starcraft can be very helpful, watching pro replays, because you can see decisions that they make in scenarios that look similar to yours, and then you just practice a Socratic question or a Socratic method of questioning. Like, just ask yourself, why did I do this? Okay, I did that, but why? Should I have done that? Why should I have done that? Was something else I could have done? Right? Here, I just realized I didn't have a combat shield. I also didn't notice that when I was playing the game. There's a fight I end up taking here, and my 2-2 is actually extremely late, that I probably didn't have to take. Now he has combat shields. I think I end up taking it, yeah. So if I would have taken that fight that I was thinking about right now, probably should have taken it earlier. There's a fight I take where he has 2-2 and I have 1-1, and I barely lose the fight. But if I would have had 2-2, I would have won. And I was thinking, man, maybe that's not a fight I should have taken. And really, same thing here. Why don't I just run my Marines back this way? Right? I have this on lockdown. I have plenty of Vikings. I can matrix 3 of these siege tanks and maybe move these up. Or, for example, why were my siege tanks sieged here? I probably should have sieged them here so that to not get my own base sieged. So yeah, so things like that you want to think about and add those pieces together. But obviously, like I said, it's I was already behind and it's just getting exponentially worse for me. So it's nothing I'm doing has really helped me not die. And sometimes it's not even so much what you did. Sometimes it's not so much the army that you built, it's more the decisions that you made, right? Maybe I was fine playing for this air game, but I should have just placed my siege tanks better to prevent this from happening. Okay. Or maybe I should have been more willing to take a bigger risk and base trade with my Marines. I mean, it's really hard to win a game from behind if you don't take risk. So I think about it like that. But yeah, so we took a look at the build order first, right? We took a look at our build order. We took a look at how it matched with our opponents. We decided whether or not it was a build order counter. We kind of think, okay, it was a little bit, yeah. But that doesn't mean that the scenario couldn't have been better for me, right? And then after that, I started questioning, okay, I'm behind. I'm entering the mid game. What decisions am I making? Should I have made that decision? Should I have placed my units there? What was I thinking in the game? That's always a great thing. Somebody who does this a lot is Estrella. He will write down what happened in the game, and then the next day he'll watch the game over, look at what he thought about the game, and see if he was right. Okay, in this game, I felt like I was more behind than maybe I actually was, because my opponent didn't have that many workers at some point, and I did catch up on the worker count. Or I didn't realize, like I said earlier, I felt like in the game he had more than one Raven. Turns out he only had one Raven. Okay, so you want to think about that. So after build order, questioning my decision making, questioning my situation in the game, questioning like where I place my units. If I'm completely stumped and I think that there's no way I could have held this, I don't know what to do. That's before. What I would do is I would just go watch pro games. I would watch pro streams. I would like scour through VODs and just kind of see what I could find and find a scenario that mimicked mine, or ask a question. That's always great too. But that's also where like the benefit of coaching comes from, because then I can tell you the answer to your question, right? Whereas if you don't get coaching, you do have to figure it out on your own. But that's fun. That's what I did. I figured out a lot of stuff on my own. So I'm just asking around and whatnot. But yeah, so hopefully that gives you guys some ideas of how you want to approach the game. Yeah, from here it doesn't get any better. Then I started coping, and then yeah. But if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, hope you guys found this game helpful, or helped this video helpful. The game was very helpful. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.